Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 1270 of the Wow, did you hear that? 1270 of the Juicebox Podcast. Today, I'm going to go over the news stories around diabetes that jumped out at me for the week of July 29th, 2004. Nothing you hear on the Juicebox Podcast should be considered advice, medical or otherwise. Always consult a physician before making any changes to your healthcare plan. Don't forget, if you use my link, drinkag1.com/juicebox, you'll get a free year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first order. And if you go to cozyearth.com and use the offer code JUICEBOX at checkout, you're going to save 40% off of your entire order. The Juicebox Podcast is full of so many series that you want and need. After Dark, Ask Scott and Jenny, Algorithm Pumping, Bold Beginnings, Defining Diabetes, Defining Thyroid, the Diabetes Pro Tip series for Type 1, the Diabetes Variables series, Mental Wellness, Type 2 Diabetes Pro Tip, How We Eat. Oh my goodness, there's so much at juiceboxpodcast.com. Head up into that menu and pick around. And if you're in the private Facebook group, just go to the feature tab for lists upon lists of all of the series. Always free, always helpful. What's up, everyone? This is the news that caught my eye for the week of July 29th, 2024. Let's get started. So there's a recent trial investigating the use of Ozempic to manage kidney disease in individuals with type 1 diabetes. The study aims to determine if Ozempic can reduce insulin needs and improve blood glucose control in people newly diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. I can only talk from my perspective here with my daughter, but I don't think we need a study for this one. The answer is yes. Study details participants and dosage. The trial involved 10 adults aged 21 to 39 who started taking semaglutide. Within 3 months of their diagnosis, they began with a weekly dose of 0.125 milligrams, which was gradually increased to a maximum of 0.5 per week. The mealtime insulin doses were reduced based on continuous glucose monitoring data. Key findings, it says, after 3 months, participants no longer required mealtime insulin, and after 6 months, 7 out of 10 participants no longer needed basal insulin. Additionally, there was a significant improvement in glycemic control, with A1C levels dropping from an average of 11.7 at diagnosis to 5.9 at the 6-month mark, and 5.7 in 1 year. Most participants achieved a time in range of 89%. Some participants experienced mild hypoglycemia. Sounds like they gave them too much insulin, while the semaglutide dose was being increased, but no severe side effects like diabetic ketoacidosis were reported once the dose stabilized. I'm just going to jump in here and say all the people who came to me and said, you can't share stories of people who are using less insulin on GLPs because type 1s will get confused and think they don't need insulin. First of all, I don't think type 1s are easily confused like that. I still know you need insulin if you have type 1 diabetes. But to all you people who mercilessly ram your hot poker up my ass for spreading news that is absolutely legitimate, let me just go say to you now, go yourself. In addition to these findings, a separate trial starting in March 2020 will investigate the use of Cardia for preventing kidney disease progression in adults with type 1. This study, known as the FINE-1 trial, will enroll 220 participants and compare the effects of Finerone, Finerene against a placebo over 6 months. If successful, Finerone could become the first new medication for managing kidney disease in type 1s in 30 years. That's very cool. I got this information from a number of different places, but one of them I really enjoy is Diatribe. The rest was kind of cold over the internet, and I asked, of course, our ChatGPT overlords. The Cardia trial for preventing kidney disease is actually accepting participants. They must be 18 years old, diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, have an A1C of less than 10%, diagnosed with chronic kidney disease meeting specific criteria for estimated glomeruli. I mean, why do they who these words? Filtration rate, EGFR, and urinary albumin. I know this one. Albumin, creatine ratio, UACR. I don't talk so good sometimes. Must be on a stable dose of an ACE inhibitor or an angiotensin receptor blocker for CKD. Exclusions: individuals with type 2 or those taking SGLT2 inhibitors or GLP-1 receptor agonists are not eligible. For more information or express interest in the participant, you can contact the study directly, 888-842-2937. And to add some clarity to what I was poo-pooing a minute ago, I've had 2 conversations so far with type 1s who have used a GLP and their insulin needs have significantly decreased. Episode 1136 is called 15-Year-Old Type 1 Using GLP. You should check it out. Episode 1230 is called Off Insulin with Mounjaro. That's an adult with type 1. Listen, does he have LADA? Probably, but he's not using insulin right now. Go listen to his story. Jenny and I talk about GLPs as part of the Diabetes Pro Tip for Type 2 series. That's episode 885. Actually, that whole series is terrific. If you have type 2 diabetes or know somebody who does, or even has prediabetes, it's great for them to know what's about to happen to them so that they can tackle it well. But in the end, today's story is about kidney disease and looking at GLPs and how it might help. It's a big deal. I hope you check it out. Looks like I've received an email from Omnipod today. Most of you have probably received it as well. I'm just going to read it to you. Hey, Arden. You insert your name there. We're excited to share the latest information on the Omnipod 5 integration with Dexcom G7 launch and limited market release of Omnipod 5 app for iPhone with Dexcom G6. Sounds like things are moving. Omnipod 5 with Dexcom G7, you will receive a free over-the-air update to complete on your controller starting July 30th. That's today. Omnipod 5 app version 3.0.1 will add the option to pair your system with Dexcom G7. You can choose to install the update immediately or delay it until a time that is convenient to you. It's important to know that the software update requires 15% battery level and should only take a few minutes depending on the strength of your Wi-Fi connection. During the update, you will not be able to navigate with the Omnipod 5 app, including the ability to bolus. Basal insulin will continue to be delivered in the background. There's a link here for where you can find out more, but I am not going to be giving you that link, so you can do some Googling. Let's see here. There's more. The new pods compatible with Dexcom G6/G7 may be at your current pharmacy as early as August, with full availability expected in the fall. Continue using your Dexcom G6 supplies until you see, this is going to be written right on the box, the words compatible with Dexcom G7. Right in the top right corner of the face of the box, it'll say that. You don't need a new pod prescription. Oh, this is nice. But a new Dexcom G7 CGM prescription will be required if you decide to change your CGM, which I think makes sense. If you have G6 and you want to go to G7, you're going to need a script to go to the G7. That's got nothing to do with Omnipod. Now, iPhone control with Dexcom G6. The limited market release of Omnipod 5 app for iPhone with Dexcom G6 is underway. The first version of the app will integrate with the Dexcom G6 only if you prefer. And so ends the part of the show where Scott reads you his email. This last thing here, I mean, it's not news, but I keep seeing people talking about it in the Facebook group, so I thought I'd go over it with you real quickly. You can get a free lifetime national park pass if you have diabetes. I don't know if you knew this or not. Eligibility: U.S. citizens or permanent residents with diabetes qualify as it is considered a disability by the ADA. The pass, called an Access Pass, grants free entry to over 2,000 federal recreation sites. Apply in person for free, online for $10, or by mail for $10. You have to provide evidence. A physician's statement or document from federal or state agencies are needed. I don't love reading URLs, but www.nps.gov/accessibility/interagency-access-pass.htm. There you go. Have fun with that one. Tickets for the 2025 Juice Cruise are limited. I'm not just saying that. They actually are limited. We have a certain window to sell them in, and then that's it. JuiceBoxPodcast.com. Scroll down to the Juice Cruise banner, click on it, find a cabin that works for you, and register right now. You are absolutely limited by time on this one. I'm so sorry to say that. It sounds pushy, but it's the absolute truth. Juice Cruise 2025. I hope to see you there. We're going to get a tan, talk about diabetes, and meet a ton of great people who are living with diabetes. It's kind of going to be like floating diabetes camp, but you won't have to sleep in a log cabin. You'll get a tan, and it's not just for adults or kids. It's for everybody. If you're not already subscribed or following in your favorite audio app, please take the time now to do that. It really helps the show. And get those automatic downloads set up so you never miss an episode. If you or a loved one was just diagnosed with type 1 diabetes and you're looking for some fresh perspective, the Bold Beginnings series from the Juicebox podcast is a terrific place to start. That series is with myself and Jenny Smith. Jenny is a CDCES, a registered dietitian, and a type 1 for over 35 years. And in the Bold Beginnings series, Jenny and I are going to answer the questions that most people have after a type 1 diabetes diagnosis. The series begins at episode 698 in your podcast player, or you can go to juiceboxpodcast.com and click on Bold Beginnings in the menu.